There, this is Live Prepper here, and today I'm going to talk about an article and read some of it to you. And it says, "And That's Why I'm a Prepper" by Pat Henry on September 16, 2014. The Prepper Journal is what this is. Okay, now I've shared a lot of things with you over time and stuff. And some things I don't totally agree with, and some things I do agree with, and I do think things that makes you think about things. And I do my how to do stuff, and I got my Jones Seed series, among other things. But this here actually made a good point. It says, I have been a prepper for several years now and have been on both sides of probably every argument out there in some form or another at one point in my life. I don't have the same perspective on life that I used to when I was 22. I would imagine that not many of us do still think the same way as when we are in the midst of raising a family and can look back on our 20s for a couple of dozen birthdays. The music that rolled out of the radio when I graduated high school is now considered classic, vintage, retro, things like that. And he's got a point there. When I grew up country, you know, kinfolks showed me a lot of stuff. And I just kind of put it on the back burner and just kind of forgot about a lot of it. You know, I knew how to survive. I could survive in nature on what I knew, but I didn't know that much. I didn't know what Queen Anne Lace was. You know, I always heard about the wild carrots in the woods and stuff. Never really thought about much about the wild carrots stuff. So in my Jones Seed series, I will be updating a lot of stuff. When I first started doing this stuff, I was really green in it, really didn't know how to go about a lot of. So this year I will be doing some more recaps, a better understanding of the plants that I've showed people, so you can understand more. The Queen Anne Lace is among them. I learned what Queen Anne Lace was, the benefits of it, and things like that. That's all that you need to do on a lot of stuff. And the problem is because when we was raising children and stuff, we just tend to forget and put this on the back burner. We just don't have time to even think about stuff like that. So, and our outlook on life is different. We think we got the bull by the horns during that time. Now, he says, I won't go into everything I believe as young man in my early, young and dumb 20s, but let's just say I learned a lot more to the left back then. Mainly, I think that was because I only cared about myself. And then I met my wife and had some of those life experiences I mentioned, kids, several career changes, someone to worry about beside my sorry self, and my perspective changed almost completely with time. I see a lot of the kids, a lot of the people, young people that was basically in our footsteps in the time span before they had other people really think about. And even now, even after some of them gets married and have kids and all, they still think about themselves. It starts to open your eyes up and think about, what if, I sure don't want my child to go hungry. I sure don't want this here or whatever. And it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. I struggled when my children were small. There was days that we had a lot of vegetarian dishes. There was days we ate Roman noodles because that's all we could afford to eat. I went and tried to get food stamps. They told me I made $5 too much to get food stamps. But, I didn't want to raise the kids in the garages. Not saying there's anything really wrong with it. But I struggled to keep them out of it. So we think different when we start thinking about other people in our lives besides ourselves. Not that I didn't make a lot of mistakes, because I sure did. But I'm not the only one that does that. There's a lot of people that make mistakes. All their life we make mistakes. It says, but this article isn't about politics. And it's about why I'm a prepper. And that introduction was really all to say that I wouldn't be the person I am today if I had the brain, maturity, and perspective, I had in my 20s. Now, same way. I look back on things now like, why did I do that? Okay, fast forward, relatively worry-free 20 to the responsibility of a father and a husband. Around 2008, I started to think that something wasn't really right. I have discussed this before, but it was a gut feeling that I needed to stay extra steps make sure my family would be protected. Protected from what? It was my perspective on it, okay, on life and what I was seeing, and that was stirring a sense of urgency to learn more about what other aspects of life there were that perhaps I wasn't aware of. It was the urgency to protect my family that led me to research a wide variety of subjects, which eventually led me to prep it even before it was a clue term on National Geographic. But I tell people I'm, back to basics, down to earth thing, and I don't see everything on there that I want to buy. That a lot of people do. They're like mall ninjas. They just run, they buy everything, and spitting out some money. And I've had to make some hard choices in life for what I have to give up and keep, and that's not easy. And things just change. And then he says, these clowns wouldn't last a month. That's what a lot of people think. So everyone comes to this subject of prepping from different paths. But I would expect that anyone who has even lifted the covers ever so slightly on the wide open world that falls under the blanket of word prepper has heard these things. Okay, now, so and he's right on it. It's like, you know, argue that you're crazy to prepare. These people are downright belligerent that anyone would be so stupid as to think about their own survival or self-sufficiency. And then all you have to do is go on YouTube videos that has anything remotely resembling prepping, and there will be lots of comments to the effect of, these clowns won't last a month, or you people are all idiots for believing anything bad is going to happen. I am not surprised at this response, but I can't really understand it. And that's the truth. When I talk to people about prepping, and I said I got a couple of different Facebooks. I've got one mainly my prepping thing, and one is just mainly where I play my games and family and things like that. And I kind of keep it on low key when I talk to people. I said, I'm just down to earth basic prepper. Where I get out here and I do my herbs and I do this and that to prepare things. And if I had this knowledge now that I had back in the 20s and stuff that I didn't have back in, things would have been a lot different. Been a lot different. But all the things that happened to me as I was younger also helped prepare me to reach this level in my life as well. And then it says, these nut jobs should not be encouraged. Now, of course, people use the doomsday preppers and prepper convention all over the U.S. as somehow encouraging bad behavior. Now, I'm going to tell you, the doomsday prepper, I have learned things off of it, but I'm like a lot of them. We talk about some of the stuff. They literally made people who prep in most cases look stupid. I mean, these people sit there like going, and they're 15 minutes of fame. And people's like, well, what? It's just like I said, the one guy that showed making pipe bombs and put it on TV. It's illegal to make pipe bombs. You know good and well they was knocking at his door. The guy stood there and said he was going to be a marauder, walk off it. They said that showed it much more in air. And they was at his door arresting him because he was a convicted felon. I think you had some of them just kind of just seemed like, weren't quite right. But you agreed with them on a lot of things. And they gave you good ideas on several things. But then again, they really, a lot of it made us look pretty doggone bad. And none of them was perfect. It's always, they need to do this, and need to do that, da 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 da. Well, we all need to do something. So I'm not going to read all of this, but it just talked about, it reminds me a lot of how I was when I was much younger. The people who call prepper nut jobs seem to know everything. I say this because they easily spout off how nothing bad will ever happen, or how the U.S. is the richest freaking country in the world. Yeah, we owe tons of money to China. China, if they ever come in and collect your debt, they're going to shut this country down. And you either sign up with them or you're going to die. But you know what? America has resisted since the beginning of time, proving the revolution stuff. And there's going to be people who's going to resist now. These countries now where they're having all this guerrilla warfare stuff, the right wing, the left wing on it, where rebels is what they call them. This is what's going to happen here. If China ever comes here, there's going to be people that's going to retaliate against. Not everybody's going to give in. It's going to happen like that. Just, I don't believe in being terrorists, don't get me wrong. I think these terrorists set a bad example for what they believe in by building bombs and just blowing up someone, just saying, well, we're doing this in so and so's name, we're doing it when they're just flat out terrorists and using children. Using children as weapons is wrong. A lot of these countries do, and that's a shame. And I don't want us to ever get to that level where we're using children and strapping bombs to them and having them walk into a middle of a bunch of people that never done anything harm to them and blow them up in the name of so and so just to prove a point. That's stupid. So, he says, I have run out of gas on the side of the road. I have been lost without cell phone, and I have experienced needing something I could have easily acquired ahead of time. I have seen winter storms block roads for days. I have also seen uh, so many times where things don't end up right. I have seen riots, looting, famine, ethnic cleaning, civil wars, hurricanes, depression, earthquakes. And he just goes on about this is stuff that he has seen in his life through his career. So in 2008, this woke him up and he got to thinking about all this. Now, so he has a responsibility to protect his family. We all have a responsibility to do things. Today I was having to make some decisions and things. Well, how important is me keeping that stuff? I've had a storage bill I've tried to keep for years. And then I get thinking, how important is it to keep all that stuff, that money I need to put somewhere else? How important is it when it's what's in here it counts. A lot of it's just not that important. So you have to think about how important is it to keep on to some of these things. And then he says a lot of so it's just a basic everyday principle here that they think. This is what got him prepping as to why he became a prepper, and it's just a basic same everyday conversation is why they think we are nut jobs and things like that. So if you want to look this article up and really read it from head to toe, it's the Prepper Journal. It's by Pat Henry on September 16, 2004. So it's on his blog. And then he says, at the start of the season of Doomsday Prepper, each person will tell a story about what motivated them to start. At the end of each testament, the camera will zoom in and each person will say, and that's why I'm a prepper. I started prepping because to me it is a simple, common sense, and I have people that depends on me. It's common sense because I have been to the grocery store when it was closed and I needed something. And like I say, he's talking about all this stuff. He has seen things that woke him up, woke him up. So, and that's what it's filled me. It's the cost of living. It has a lot to do with it. It's getting more mature. It has a lot to do with it. It's thinking about not just myself. It's thinking about other things, other people in a situation. And I come across this every day. Why don't you just go to the store and get it? Why do you make that stuff yourself when you can go and buy a bottle of Free Breeze? Why are you making your own air freshener? Why are you making your own soap? Why are you learning how to do this? Why are you doing that? You're stupid. Ain't nothing going to happen. Why are you stocking up on all that? I told a friend, what, I'll bring my canner over and we'll get some canning jars. This fall we can can up a bunch of things, some greens or whatever. And that way you'll have some for the winter that I have. Why? I don't need that. Why do you want to do that? Why not? Because you know what's going to happen. In a situation something goes wrong, they're going to be coming to my house. They're going to be coming here, knocking on my door, and they're going to say, I ran out of food. We don't have no power. We need it. We're hungry. This is what's going to happen. You're going to have people coming, knocking at your door saying, I need help, and I know you've got this stuff, so can I come here and help and stay with you while things are bad? So yeah, I'm mocking, and it's just the truth, and this is the way everybody feels about it. And these people who went on Doomsday Prep were showing all this stuff, and made like this one of them showing, and they was like in Indy 500 type of people, whatever. They actually teach some courses, but they had a bed propped up on top of these big old 55-gallon drums of water, How in the world are you climbing yourself up and down on that? I mean, they had their whole house packed with stuff, water and everything. And then they still sit there and tell them, well, y'all really need to have more water than what you got. I mean, they would find things wrong. Now, these people has this bed made up with these 55-gallon drums, big old drums, not just the little ones, the big ones. And they got like 6 or 8 of them, whatever it was, 4 each way lined up, and made their bed on it. And they got, for 2 people, you got all this water right there, not counting all the other water. And they still said they didn't have enough water for them. And they said, well, we don't tell where everything is. Then you have some of them showing their secret rooms, but we can't tell you the location, but they got a secret room. So what's going to happen is they're going to be knocking on that door. We know you got that secret room and that stash of food because we seen you on Doomsday Prepper. Those people, very ones that sitting there just laughing about it, said, man, these people are crazy and stupid. They're going to be knocking on your door. We know you got it. We know you got it. So come on, where's that room at with the guns and stuff in the hand? Something to think about. So again, I say, check this article out. It's called, and That's Why I'm a Prepper by Pat Henry. Published September 16, 2014. The Prepper Journal. That's his blog right there, the Prepper Journal. So check it out. This is Live Prepper here. Remember, I've got my Facebook, The Wall of Joan, about different articles and how to do things and everything. None of this cussing and swearing and politics. I don't go for all that on my side on Facebook. That's just down-to-earth, everyday stuff that I share with people. And then join me on my Joan C series as I work on it this year and everything with my little homemade hat there. It's sharing all my ideas. So my thing is, think outside the box. I want you to be safe, be happy. Bless you all.